We work in the dark to serve the light. Basim, Ibn Hulk. You have become one of us.
Yeah, I look for drama. Yeah, I'm chasing karma. I see some things that other people can't see.
In Barzad, city of brilliant sun, one must uncover the darkness beneath.
Hey guys, what's going on? You are listening to The Prototype, only on ThisWeekInGeek.net. I am one of your members of the Hidden Ones. I am Mike the Birdman, but I'm joined by the one who's maybe part of the Order, perhaps a Templar himself in training.
I was trying to think of something funny. Nothing.
Nothing in universe lore.
No, I was like, Alex, the farts are that doesn't work. Fart joke doesn't work there. I guess
the hidden wind,
the silent but deadly one.
So yes, guys, we are here on The Prototype, and this is going to be an extended review of the Ubisoft game Assassin's Creed Mirage. Now, as a note, we were both provided review copies of this game by the publisher, a copy of the digital deluxe version on the PlayStation 5 platform. We have been playing since launch, and we have some thoughts about this game. So we will be avoiding spoilers for the storyline for this game, so you can experience the story of Basim for yourself. But we will have some thoughts on it. We'll talk around it as much as we possibly could, so you can experience this game at your own pace. As this is
there may be mild spoilers. So be forewarned if you are completely in the dark about the franchise and want to remain that way. Play it first.
Yeah, I guess to kind of start off with some initial thoughts, the last Assassin's Creed game was Assassin's Creed Valhalla, and then before that there was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, both of which I loved, but there was a pretty big problem with those games, and I just said what the problem is. They were too damn big, and these are games
really boring after the first 20 hours. It got really tedious.
See, for me, I like those type of games, but they felt more like a Skyrim or a Witcher in the fact that the world is so open, there's so much to do. But with Ubisoft games and just how they're developed, like their internal strategy on how they look at how they do a game design document, there are a lot of, here's stuff on a map, go clear it. Like, for example, when I play Far Cry games, okay, here's all the outposts. I'm going to clear those first, so I have places that I know are secure. I want to get the weapons. I want to clear the areas. That's how I do it. With Assassin's Creed Valhalla and Odyssey, I would go take on the hardest areas to find places to fast travel to, find gear, and just try and do all the side questy stuff first before I do the main storyline. Where Assassin's Creed Mirage differs from that, it goes back a little bit closer to the older style, a little more linear. It takes away some of the RPG elements where it's like, here's all the stats, this bad guy is this level. Now you can just hidden blade these guys, which is awesome. And
let's be honest, like getting back to that, the compared to Far Cry had the right amount to do in each area. Nothing felt like it was too much. Like if you put too much on the screen, you don't feel
cluttered.
like you accomplish anything, because the rewards have to be small. Because if they rewarded you big for all those things on the screen, you'd be so overpowered by the end of the game, there'd be no point. So
that's how I was in Assassin's Creed Syndicate, for example, or Assassin's Creed Black Flag. I was ridiculously overpowered by the time I got to the end game because I did everything on the map because I was determined to clear everything before I do something.
Whereas here, it's again more streamlined, and there are only 1, 2, 3. There are 4 levels of difficulty, like not just the difficulty in the game, like you select, but the zones are zoned into 4 difficulty, or 1, 2, 3, 4. There are, I think it's 4 difficulties, but only 3 difficulty zones, if that makes any sense.
Hmm.
There's like the initiate, then there's the like a regular difficulty, then there is I think is it just called hidden one?
Yeah,
No,
I
it's
think so.
no, it's assassin. The end game area is assassin level, and then but by the time you get there, if you've done enough things, and there's not too much, you will actually attain the highest level, which is master. And there isn't anywhere in the game that, if you look at the fast travel or the zones, that has a recommended level of master. So if you do everything right, you'll be more powerful than what's required for the end of the game, if that makes any sense. And
Hmm.
gone are level difficulty things. Um, Combat is easier in the
A
sense that
lot simpler.
there's if you play it on easy or normal, hard is going to be hard. You don't end up having to worry so much about being bogged down in long, tedious combat. Even if you just, don't want to have to do too much with the parrying and dodging, you can usually muddle your way through. I still think that the combat is a little. I personally would prefer it to be less involved. I'm a hack and slash. If this was a little more like God of War
Hmm.
in the combat, I think it would be better. The stealth is much more prominently important in this game than it's been in the last several games.
But I was about to say, yeah, like when you look at Valhalla and Odyssey, you can literally warpath your way through those games. In this one, it's more advantageous to play a stealthy thing because there's no levels to the guys. You can literally sneak your way around a base and stab people in the
Well,
back of the head
and it can
and
be
do it that way.
very when you go up against armored or heavy guys, especially as you get maybe a little more than a third of the way through the game, where that becomes more prominent, where mobs will have a few guys that are armored, which armored meaning hitting them with any attack doesn't do anything until you like find their weak point and use like
Or poison them or something. Yeah.
yeah, but you can like one shot assassin kill anybody. So it's more advantageous to sneak up on the big guys first and get rid of them.
Yeah, like I like the stealth in this game better than I do the other ones. I like the fact that things feel a lot simpler. I'm also not bogged down in screens upon screens and menus of gear. And weapons can only be improved up to 3 levels or twice, I mean, sorry. Um your cosmetics can change. Like if you want to wear a different outfit but have different gear underneath, you can do that and it doesn't affect anything. Like I'm
Um,
currently wearing the gear from Valhalla, but I have the Sands of Time outfit because that was given in the digital
yeah,
upgrade pack that we
I,
got.
I, if you get the digital deluxe edition, you get the best weapons in the game right
Yeah,
away.
I never used anything but the dagger of time and the sword of time because the
Yeah,
fact that I got 20% life back every time I killed somebody was invaluable.
and once per in combat encounter, basically when the music changes and you're in combat, um, you would get if you got killed. Let's say somebody hit you with a few pole arms and you couldn't get out of there quick enough and you died. It would recover about 10% of your health and then give you 5 seconds where you could have time slowed and kill everybody in the room.
Yeah, like it's amazing. Now, because this game is an Ubisoft game, there are a lot of DLC transactions, and the only DLC I purchased, I spent $6-7, and I bought the map pack, which I do for every single Assassin's Creed game because I just want to know where all of the collectibles are. Because as we were mentioning, when there's so much collectibles on the screen, it's a little confusing. So for my own OCD-ness, I clear the screen. I'll look for as many things as I can clear as early as I can. Sometimes you need certain tools and pieces of equipment to do certain things. But if I can get here's the enigma, here's the piece of armor gear, here's a chest, here's some blah 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 blah. I'll do that. That's worth $5, so I don't have to deal with it.
I
Plus
I
I
didn't do any of that, but I did get there's a bunch of free stuff you can download. And then
yes.
I also used the was it Ubisoft Connect and
Yes.
redeemed all the stuff there. I changed my horse and I changed the skin for my eagle. Um, there's this is a more bite-sized game. I know that it started initially as the expansion for Valhalla,
Mm-hmm.
and then it spun off. It has just the right amount of everything in it, as far as I can tell. And again, mild spoiler, nothing to the story. Like, even the collectible stuff is not too much. Like, there's the shards that you're collecting in this game by sneaking up to certain members of the order and either killing them or pickpocketing them. And there's only, let me think here, 5, 8, uh, 9, there's like 10 or 11 of them, I think, total in the entire game. And they unlock 3 pieces of equipment, which, if you're not using the digital deluxe edition with the crazy Sands of Time gear, unlocks the best gear in the game. Stuff that is much more geared towards um, like DPS and um, I think one of the pieces of gear heavily improves like stealth attacks and stuff, different things. But again, you're not having to collect like in previous games. If you're playing Valhalla, it would have been collect all 150 shards, and you'd be like, "Oh my god!" But no, it's like bite-sized, just the right amount, at least for me. Um, and I didn't clear the whole map like you did.
Mm-hmm.
I did probably 5 of the contracts. I did just enough to get a feel for each of the levels, like how you can go about doing things a different way. It'll be like, infiltrate this prison. Okay, you can just go in the front door, have to kill everybody and have it on high alert and have it be horribly hard. Or you can find a way to sneak in, either by crawling around and finding a crack in the wall or something, or having your eagle search from above. But if there's an archer above, you can't do that. Or you can bribe some townspeople, a merchant, to walk in as a merchant with them.
And that I really like. That's a
Or,
nice new addition to this game.
yeah, it was like immersive sim stuff. Or you can bribe some, or you can pay some mercenaries so that when you walk in and you get attacked, they will draw the fire and you can sneak in behind them.
Yeah.
Or you could even have sometimes a third option, which is like you can dress up as a beggar or dress up as somebody else. There's a different costume you can wear, and maybe you can just walk right in and completely go unnoticed.
Yeah, like there's a lot more ways to approach this situation in this, and I'm really hoping that Ubisoft takes some of the design choices they've learned in Assassin's Creed and implements them into the next Splinter Cell game, for example, which is allegedly in development
Yeah,
right now.
which was like their previous immersive sim, right? Where
Yeah,
you could figure out different ways to do things.
yeah,
Um,
like I think what I like most about this game is it feels like this is a good entry point for those who have been away from the franchise for a while, because not every people liked Origins because it was so different. People liked Odyssey because it was huge. It was a unique setting, fantastic lead character in Alex and Cassandra, and people really liked Valhalla because Vikings. But those games did something so radical. And before that, the last game was, I want to say, Syndicate, which, yeah, I'm pretty sure it was Syndicate.
if you look
And
at the yes, if you look at the numbers though, Mike,
mhm.
of people playing it and the discourse, whether people like things or not, there was a sharp decline in players and just overall people saying that the franchise was fantastic right around when Unity came out.
Yeah, Unity was a big division point because that's when we made the jump to next gen consoles, and obviously there was a lot of technical problems
And I think those
with
issues,
Unity.
and it was when they started making the world a little bigger, and there was a bit of a split. Like the previous gen had the classic style games, and that was the first of the more purely open world games. And this, there are people that have been gone now, what, 10 years
Mhm.
nearly, that might come back because of this game.
Yeah, and I completely agree that, like, if you kind of noped out around Black Flag or maybe Rogue, this isn't a bad point to come back. And if you're willing to play through this game, Bassam's story does continue in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. if you
Yeah.
want to know what happens to that particular character.
Yeah,
Is it
it is a prequel, but they still set up things in this game that aren't in that game. So
yeah, like
there is going to be more to this story.
yeah, like is Bassam an interesting character? Kinda. I don't think they're as
Yeah.
memorable as Cassandra. He's definitely not as interesting as any of the Kenway characters, either Hatham or Edward or
His
Connor from Assassin's Creed 3.
the supporting cast is almost more interesting than he is.
Yeah, Master Rosham, who is this actress whose name I can't pronounce, but I know her from 24, who says she has this incredibly sultry and kind of a smoky voice.
She has
Like
like the
basically,
deepest voice I've ever heard from a woman ever.
yeah, like she sounds like the type of person who could seduce you or tell you exactly that your plan is going to fail and you failed 30 minutes ago. She has that Ozymandias level of super villainy if she wanted to, or she could be the wise assassin master that she plays in this game. Like she has such range to her roles. And the actor who plays Bassam, again, not bad. It's just you don't have the swagger of a Matt Ryan who
Oh,
played Edward Kenway.
I shall attempt her name.
Oh God.
Shore uh Shore Agdashlu.
I don't think you're too far off, actually. And that's okay.
Shore
There was
Shore
a,
Shore is definitely how you say her name. And I
now
only know
there,
that because that's a name from Stargate.
now there was a conversation I saw on X the other day, and people were talking. Somebody was reviewing Assassin's Creed, and then they decided to do a bad impersonation of the languages that were spoken this game. And
Uh,
I will say this: this game gave me a real appreciation for. Is it Arabic
yes,
or yeah?
it's. I mean, it's. It would be Middle Ages Iranian, Iraq. Well, it's Baghdad, but it's yes, it's Baghdad, but it's also the surrounding areas. So it's Middle Ages Arabic.
Like one of the words that I love that I've learned, and it's really hard not to say it because I just think it's a fun word to say. It's the word for friend, Siddiqui. I love the way that sounds, and there are some names in this game I'm totally yanking for my next Dungeons and Dragons character
Oh,
because there's
I
just
thought
some
you
cool sounding names.
I thought you were going to name your next cat or something after somebody from here.
Actually, Bassam's actually not a terrible name. Actually, if you had like an Egyptian cat or something, that's
It just has
cool.
to like if you had like a Sphinx cat or something.
Yeah. Like there's just and again, learning about Baghdad is not something I have any knowledge. Like my knowledge of the Middle East, and especially right now with current politics, is really, really limited. I'm starting to learn stuff now. It's fascinating to see this era of history portrayed because whenever Ubisoft does any of these Assassin's Creed games, they usually go to extreme lengths to give you the best possible representation of that era, that history. Like I know, for example, when the cathedral in France burned down, the scans from Unity were used to rebuild it. And you look at stuff that was learned from the other games. There are modes in these games. I haven't checked whether it's here or not, whether there's the educational mode where you can wander around. I don't think there is, but don't quote me on that.
Well,
um
when this game is based in like the was it like 19 or 900 something, shortly
yeah.
before the events of Valhalla, it was one of the very few like epicenters of like higher education. So like
Hmm.
back in history you had the ancient Greeks and the Romans and everything. In the Middle Ages, the Dark Ages, whatever you want to call it, this was sort of where all the advances in medicine and science were happening.
Yeah, like it's just incredibly interesting, and there are things hidden around the world where there's like tales of Baghdad you can experience. There's like notes and everything. There's
Oh, I'll tell you right
historical
now,
instances.
I
Yeah.
gave up on trying to find the floating pages.
I when I used to play Assassin's Creed Black Flag, that's how you found sea shanties.
I found
I
one.
was
I found
aggressive.
one, and I was like, I had no idea where to find the other, so I gave up. And every time I
Yeah.
walk by, he's like, "Have you found them?" And I'm like, "I can't kill you. I want to stab you. Stop asking me."
No, and I refuse to. Yeah, like I enjoy that sort of thing, but I don't that's if I had to give any negative to the Assassin's Creed franchise, it's when the collectathon becomes a problem. And that's just the nature of the beast. And it started, I feel, primarily with Black Flag back in 2014, which is again amazing game, but you'll go nuts trying to find those sea shanties and all the animus shards and all this stuff. And I don't know, like again, I really like this game. I like the fact that it's so small, it's so compact. This is something you can easily beat in a week. You're not going to spend 100 hours with this. You'll be lucky to get 20, 25 out of it.
I got exactly 20 hours and 30 minutes. And that was to give some context, that was a complete playthrough. I had altered the difficulty between normal and easy depending on. I left it on normal, but turned it to easy when things got too hard. And I was like, nope, I'm not great at combat. So I do like that you have the ability to do that. And that was with collecting the shards, maybe 50% of the other collectibles, a bunch of the different weapon or a bunch of the different gear items that I found in some chests, doing all of the missions to investigate and assassinate the specific peoples, as well as
Contracts were some of my favorites. I love doing contracts.
I'm going to mild spoilers, but not like direct spoilers. Did you know that there are a couple of optional kills?
No.
Okay, one that is a mild spoiler, but it's not anything to the end of the game. One of the assassin marks that you have to kill. It's the one in. Is it the prison? There is the one where it. Okay, you're in the prison, and you're going down into to try to find the mark. He's in like somewhere down deep in the prison, and you get the hint. They say, "Oh, I should change into these prisoners' clothes, and maybe I can get closer." Right. So you do that, and you go in. Now, here's the thing. I did this on my second way through because I'll get to why I had to do it twice. On my second way through, I did that. You get real close, and you assassinate him, and then you only have to kill like 2 guards that are there, and then you can leave.
Yeah.
Because he's talking to some dude that's like the ray of light of something or other. He's got this big title, and turns out the first time I did it, I didn't change into the gear. I entered the room, grabbed a flaming vase, and threw it down and burnt him alive. And and then there was like 20 guards after me, including that big guy. And I ran out of items. And he's one of those guys you can only hit if you like throw things at his feet. And he just completely he was like 2-shot killing me. Turns out that it's like he's like a secret boss, because he does not show up later in the game. If you go in there and you kill the guy and you let him leave, you never see him again in the entire game. And yet, if you kill him, I think you get a trophy or something to that extent. And he was harder than anything else in the game. And I was like, that's why they're telling me I should put on this thing. You don't have to if you don't want to. You can go in guns and blazing, and you'll end up fighting somebody you never fight otherwise. And the same thing goes for something near the end of the game. There is a trophy attached to killing so-and-so. Well, the reason that there's a trophy attached to that is you're chasing this person. And if you don't kill them within the first 5 or 6 seconds, they will run faster than you can, get to the end, and trigger a movie event, and then you can't kill them.
Oh.
So, and it will change outcomes, I think, in the storyline of the game, because if the person is living when you get to the end of that chase, they give some expository stuff specifically towards the plot. If you kill them before that, you won't learn those plot events, and it's pretty crucial to the game.
Okay, so I'm gonna have to maybe
Do
go
you
back and redo something.
it's similar, even though this is a different franchise, similar to the different diverging paths I think that you saw on Call of Duty Cold War.
Oh, right. Yeah. Where if you did certain things, you could get a certain different outcome. Yeah.
It appears that way. It might not be as major as that, but it's very distinctly like there is a. I looked at the trophies. There is one for killing that person. I didn't think you could because they were so fast. You will have to basically immediately switch to aiming at them, and you know it goes into slow-mo mode, and you'll have to hit them with something poisonous to knock them down and kill them before they run to the end of the room.
Okay.
So
Yeah, I'm gonna have to redo some stuff.
mild spoilers. Basically, if you're listening, you'll know when you get there.
Cool. I like it.
And I'll explain everything when we're off air so that you know exactly what I'm talking about.
Yeah.
But yeah, there seemed to be more immersive sim style stuff here. A little less on the RPG, a little less on the collectathon, a little tighter story. Just
It's a gorgeous looking game too. Let's say that.
I played it on the graphic mode. It defaults to frame rate mode. And I'm glad I did switch it because at 30 frames per second, it was basically locked. I had no slowdown. I know other reviewers are having issues with the 60 FPS mode where it would struggle sometimes. So I'm happy I did that. I think you played it on 60 FPS, but I didn't hear any complaints. So I'm assuming you had a pretty good time.
No, I played it on graphics mode because I fool around with the photo mode. Like obviously.
Okay, then yeah. So we both played it at 30. So yes, played it in graphics mode because it looks better.
Yeah, like
the character models are a little bit uncanny valley.
Some of them look really good. Some of them look fucking weird. I sent you a picture privately where I ran into a little girl in the first 5 minutes of the game and she looked like Darth Maul. She was shooting me Sith eyes. I'm like, holy crap.
What's weird is Bassam kind of has the worst face model out of all the main characters in the game. He seems to have the most uncanny valley where every other assassin you encounter is like better graphics. I don't understand it, but I have a glitch that I saved a clip to my PS5. I'll try to grab it and then I'll clip it in. Only major glitch I encountered in the game, because it's pretty rock solid. It doesn't crash. There's no issues. It seems to be pretty well optimized. Only issue I had was near the end of the game, I killed a guy by hitting him with I think I hit him with a throwing knife. And when he fell to the ground, he did the curly Three Stooges thing, you know, like the whoop, 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 and he was spinning in circles, and it was hilarious, like a pinwheel. And I clipped it, and I got close to him, and he started spinning and like corkscrewing up like he was going to do some sort of like breakdance move. And I
had a hard crash.
You had a hard crash?
Yeah, once.
So I mean, it's as weird as this sounds that we're talking about these things, like that's actually pretty good for this generation. A lot of games come out with more glitches than this did, that's for sure. So yeah, it's pretty smooth, and there's already been, since I beat the game, already been an update. So
yeah, like I think overall Assassin's Creed Mirage, it's a pretty good entry point for newcomers, and it will entice you to play other games in the franchise, because honestly, Valhalla is worth playing. Odyssey is really worth playing, but just understand they are vastly different styles of game from this. Yes. This is a good hybrid of some of what's been learned in the 15 years of this franchise, with going back to a style that we haven't seen really since 2007 with the original Assassin's Creed. And I like it. Like I said, is Bassam's story the most interesting story in the franchise? No. Is it worth experiencing? Yes. So the question then becomes, Alex, for you and I, is this a game you need to buy at launch? I'm going to say no. I'm going to say this is absolutely worth getting at Black Friday. This is an awesome Christmas game.
Yes, and I think a lot of that has to do with the prices of games right now. And It's not about like, oh, the other one has 100 hours. This to me is a better game than Valhalla. I prefer the certain games. I love a game when it's 100 hours. if it justifies it. If it's just the
padding it out.
a 100-hour Assassin's Creed game is just this game multiplied by 5. And that does not mean better.
Yeah, like a lot of my Valhalla experience was just gaining collectibles and raiding villages
I
and
will tell
just
you,
little side quests.
the thing I hate most in games
Mm-hmm.
by far is enemies that scale with you.
Yes.
Why on earth would I spend the time to get better if the enemies will get harder as I go? So you're telling me the less I play, the easier time I'll have? That is the biggest problem they've had with the last few games in the series.
I think they changed that with an update. I'm pretty sure they did.
This game doesn't have that issue.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm glad they took out the leveling, which means if you could sneak up behind one of those big armored dudes, good night.
And I would say the only other issue that I have, like with this game in particular, I sent you a message like I was complaining that the stealth was a little off, and then I realized I had to approach it very differently than I've approached other stealth games. But the issue I have here is there is one mission type that I do not like that is required for a few of the key main missions, and that is the follow somebody without them noticing you. There is, and they have a pattern. They'll walk and then they'll stop and they'll turn. There's issues I have with their line of sight.
Yeah.
If they sometimes will be able to see you when they shouldn't. And when I say that, because no other character in the game can see you based on their own in-game logic from that point, they'll see you. And instead of it just going, okay, start over, and then just resetting you, like other games will do that. They'll just reset you to where you started, and then you just start that instance over again. That's how it was done in most recently when I reviewed Baldur's Gate 3. If you fail that mission, it'll just poof. No, you have to run all the way back to where you started, find a bench to sit on, and then sit for 2 full sessions of it changing the day and night cycle, and then start again. And if you fail that more than twice, you will want to throw the controller across the room, because that will take you 5 minutes just to set back up to start again. And there's a randomized aspect to it, because you could be hiding somewhere and a random NPC will bump into you and knock you out of hiding, and then you'll automatically be seen.
The thing that bothered me about this game, and it's a constant problem across every Assassin's Creed game I've ever played, it's what I call the Assassin's Creed stick. And when you're running across rooftops and you're performing parkour, a hallmark of the franchise, sometimes you'll jump onto the side of a building and just hang there for no reason, or you'll grab onto a ledge you don't want to or need to, slowing up your progression, or you'll stop and stutter on something,
or you'll jump, or it'll kick you off, and you'll be free running, and then you'll just randomly kick off something and fall into the water.
Yeah, like there are moments like that, and that's just, I guess, the engine they use to build this game.
It is better here than in the previous games. I noticed they've done some tweaks that seem to flow a little better.
Yeah, like this feels to me, and this is gonna sound weird, the best feel I've ever had for the Assassin's Creed games was Black Flag. Now, maybe that's nostalgia glasses, but there also wasn't a lot of verticality in those games. Because you were mostly on ships, there would be the odd village and island. You were mostly jumping in trees and the odd building. Here, there's a lot of buildings, and there's just a lot more verticality to things. So maybe a little closer to Syndicate, but I don't like that it does that to me. Sometimes it saved my ass, and I'm not even going to deny that. But there are other times like that kind of killed my immersion for just a few seconds, and it throws me back into this reality. But overall, though, this is a very solid game. The digital deluxe version does come with some optional things. Like you said, you do get the dagger and sword of time. You get the Prince of Persia outfit, which obviously that's a big Ubisoft franchise. You get a skin for a horse.
And you get like an amulet, which, again, question.
They do anything?
They don't do anything, but they just look there pretty, I guess. So
yeah, they look cool. So all right, fine.
but yeah, like I would say if you're a fan of the franchise, it is worth buying right now. If you're somebody who's on the fence, you know there's going to be a sale, if you're afraid of the commitment that's been required by the last 3 or 4 games of the franchise, it's not required. You're going to have between 20 and 30 hours in this, and 30 would be if you're really taking your time.
Yeah, like ultimately, when I said this is a good Black Friday / Christmas game, this is something you can breeze through in a week and change. You don't have to kill yourself over collecting everything. You're still gonna get a full and rich Assassin's Creed experience. You're gonna see a wonderful setting we haven't seen in a number of years. It's not Greece. It's not the northern places of England and Scotland. You're going to see something really neat here, and it ties into Valhalla, which may interest you to check out other things.
And like you said, while even though we played it in English, you can play it in Arabic and other languages. And the banter when you're close to people is in English, but you'll hear things in the background and people will be speaking in Arabic. And it's really cool. And also, the music is great.
Yeah, like again, I can't think of a series that tries more to give you that sense of immersion. Like honestly, the Assassin's Creed games is something I came into very, very, very late in my career. Like I said, the first game that I really did to completion was Black Flag. I did play most of 2 and Brotherhood and 3, but I didn't care. It wasn't until I started going back and the remasters started coming out that I really started to go back and really appreciate the games. Now, is it hard to go back to those games? Yeah, but I'm thankful that they're mostly available on modern platforms, so I can go back and get them. Plus, I think if you're a member of Ubisoft Plus, you can go back and download those older games too.
A lot of them are on PlayStation Plus as well.
Yeah, so ultimately, guys, you're not going to have a bad time with this. Regardless, I hope you check out Bassam's story, find out what's going on with the Hidden Ones and the Order, and I think you're going to have a fantastic time. So that's going to do it for us here on This Week in Geek. We are going to have more big game prototypes coming up. I should be talking about Spider-Man. I am on the reviewers list for that. We will be doing Call of Duty Modern Warfare 3 when that comes out. I'm pretty sure we are confirmed for that as well. It's going to be busy. We have reviews coming up for Detective Pikachu fairly soon. I know. What else we got coming up? I've got Forza Motorsport probably in like a week or so. I just haven't had time to like kind of futz with it.
I'm waiting to hear back.
Baldur's Gate.
Yeah, just at Baldur's Gate. We have other stuff that's potentially in the pipeline. It's just a matter of getting confirmation. A lot of the games that we were worried were going to be crammed together got spread out to next year, which is kind of good in that sense. But hopefully we'll have some stuff from Nintendo to talk about. Maybe a few others, but obviously the big one right now is going to be Spider-Man, and then Call of Duty, right? Those are the big 1-2 punch outside of the Nintendo games for the fall. So we'll be talking about those.
Yeah. So guys, once again, have yourself a fantastic Broketober. So much stuff coming out. Your wallet can only take so much damage, so please give it some love. And once again, stay tuned here on ThisWeekInGeek.net. I'm sure Alex will be putting together a Black Friday special so he can tell you some of the games that have come out earlier this year and that are coming out for the holiday season you should be checking out. There's going to be a number of things coming out as we run towards the holiday gift guide, which will be airing on, I believe, December 9th. And then we'll be talking about the Video Game Awards, which should be airing that week. So Jeff Keighley's coming. It's not Santa I'm worried about. It's Jeff. So anyway, for This Week in Geek, we're going to fade back into the shadows and blend in with the Animus. We have been
Alex, the producer.
I've been Mike the Birdman saying, be excellent to each other. We'll catch you guys again next time, right here on ThisWeekInGeek.net.